The tragic story of the mangaka Nekojiru. Chiyomi Hashiguchi, professionally known as Nekojiru, which is a combination of the Japanese words for cat and soup, is an artist whose journey to becoming a beloved manga creator was unlike almost any others, and just when it seemed her career was taking off, it would be cut short after she took her own life. Aged just 18, she married a manga artist called Hajime Yamano, who was known for their cult manga with darker themes. His manga resonated with a small audience because they related to his characters, who were often the poor and downtrodden people in society. Nekojiru was a shut-in, antisocial type, but with Hajime, she reached out to him. Due to her introverted nature, she didn't connect with many people, and she could be seen as esoteric and very opinionated. She started out as a housewife who wanted to help her husband with his manga, and doodled little cat pictures in her free time. It was hard for her to help too much, because her husband's style was very technical, and filled with precise details. He could tell that she had a lot of potential though, and they began to collaborate more. They would become a duo, who worked on manga together. It wasn't until June 1990 that her first manga, called Nekojiru Udon, or Cat Soup Noodles in English, would be published. Cat Soup was serialized monthly in the magazine Garo. The series featured crude drawings and crude humour. The stories were mostly based on either things that actually happened in Nekojiru's life, or stories Yamano pulled from her dream journal. Initially, when she showed her comics to editors, they would try and talk her out of the cruelty of her work, to try and get her to make something for the general public. However, her manga was both edgy and cute, which is a combination with endless appeal even to this day. So it's a great thing that she stuck to her guns on this. Comics feel like something that would be published online today, with the rise of independent webcomic artists. The amateurish drawing style stood out amongst the more extravagantly detailed works of the time. In a word, they're charming. Her stories weren't complex, but they really stood out. The series would become increasingly popular starting in the mid-1990s, and this has been described by her friend Yoshiaki Yoshinaga as the beginning of the end for Nekojiru. Up until this point, she worked at her own pace and released chapters slowly, but she was barely scraping by financially. She wasn't motivated by business concerns, such as making money or becoming famous. She'd go on to release different kinds of manga, including travel manga, where she'd go on to document her experiences in different countries, such as India and Nepal. However, with her increasing popularity, she started to accept more and more assignments, and the deadlines started to pile up. The life of a manga artist is extremely stressful in general, and due to the unorthodox way that Nekojiru and Yamano worked together, they couldn't really hire any assistants to help them. Yamano was like Nekojiru's interpreter. He took her stories and the dreams from her dream journal and translated them into something that could be understood by others. She was overworked, and didn't have any time for basic necessities such as sleep. She was living a pretty unhealthy lifestyle at this point. Nekojiru had been diagnosed as manic depressive, and she'd often have depressive slumps where she'd lock herself away from the world to play Final Fantasy. Despite her struggles, she was seeing a psychiatrist to try and help. According to her editor, Yoshiaki Yoshinaga, by 1997, at the peak of her popularity, she began to drink heavily too. And when all of this became too much, she died by suicide on the 10th of May 1998. She was just 31 years old. Her husband wrote several memorial letters to Nekojiru's fans in the magazines that she was published in. He revealed that she had asked them not to provide any information regarding the motive or circumstances. Her death left the industry sad and confused. Her peers were left thinking, why would an artist who's just started to become successful end it all? There's a great documentary called The Death of Nekojiru, which tells her story in great detail and shows the immense impact that she had on the people around her. She didn't tell most of the people she was working with what she was going through. In fact, she was having normal business conversations with her merchandising partners just 1 week before she died. On the 4th of May, 6 days before her death, she did tell one of her editors that she wanted to quit manga. I'm tired of drawing manga, I want to stop, and use the money I've saved. She planned on using her savings to move to a developing country with her husband. 2 days before she died, she drew her final comic, titled Window, which was similar to her other comics, and didn't give any indication of what was to come. Rumours spread that this was a copycat suicide of the popular rock star and ex-Japan guitarist Hyde, who had recently passed away. However, this was not the case, and Yamano debunked this in the memorials about her. After her death, her series would still be published for some time, but drawn by her husband under the name Nekojiru Y. The popularity of her characters didn't die down right away either. Her characters were highly marketable, and there were a whole host of plush, t-shirts, figures, and more available for the public. There was even a mascot that you could take pictures with. During 1997, as her characters were massively popular, she collaborated with Tokyo Electric Power Company to create a character called Denki-kun, and there were plans for further commercials with Nyako and Nyata from her manga. However, these were cancelled after Nekojiru's death. They would also pull Denki-kun from further advertisements. In 1999, the first animated adaptation of her comics and characters was released. Nekojiru Theatre was 27 episodes, each 2 minutes long. It aired on Japanese TV as a segment of a larger comedy program. Out of Nekojiru's 2 animated adaptations, I think this one is more representative of the comics. A 30-minute animated short film titled Cat Soup, inspired by her comics, was released 3 years after her death in 2001. It features a more refined art style than her comics, and is rather strange and experimental, featuring bizarre imagery and very little dialogue. It's available on YouTube, so if you're even a little interested, I'd recommend you check it out. Unfortunately, none of Nekojiru's work was ever officially translated into English. We have the tireless work of fan translators to thank for making her work more accessible. I've left some links in the description which I think would help anyone trying to get into her work. There is a site called read-nekojiru.neocities.org, which is a fantastic resource, without which this video will be a lot more difficult to compile. I've tried to cover this subject in as sensitive and objective as a way possible. If you're also struggling with your mental health, then I implore you to talk to someone. I'll leave some links you might find helpful in the description. Thanks for watching.